Welcome to Supernatural Saturdays here on the Bald Brad channel, where we take one day out of the week to step aside from the politics, the craziness of the world, and dive into the paranormal, the unexplained, and the supernatural. If you're looking for our main show, the Bald Brad Show, well, that is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a sprinkling of politics on Sunday. What we're going to be looking at today, I couldn't be more excited because we're going to be talking about UFOs, UAPs, extraterrestrials, ET, whatever you want to call them, because we have a lot of sightings happening in all areas of the United States, more specifically today, California with our Marines, Las Vegas with the police department. We got body cam footage with that, in conjunction with supposedly a craft landed in a family's backyard. That's been hitting the airwaves. And we have a whistleblower coming out saying, hey, United States government has retrieved craft of non-human origins. This one is wild. The question for all of you is, you think UFOs are real? You think UAPs, ET, extraterrestrials are real? Let us know in the comment section below. Our first of many lineups is dealing with massive UFO sighting caught on camera in California here with our Marines. We got pictures, we got footage, we got it all with Jeremy Corbell here. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let's go ahead and roll it.
We saw a craft. It was silent. It was hovering.
You can see like an outline of something. What is this shit?
Now it's not showing up in my camera.
That's an insane picture. So this is the one that supposedly the Marines caught. That is a triangle, folks, with lights. Now, some of you are going to be like, it's a pigeon. It's a seagull. It's a bird. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure it is. No. That's a craft. That is a craft right there. Now, what it is, I don't know, but that is a craft.
We're talking about an incursion of an unknown vehicle over a military base.
Please tell me this is the end of the world.
Could be flares. That's
UFOs
crazy.
are real. Our government has told you that much. They said that there are machines, we can't duplicate their technology, and we don't know where they're from. There's no sticker, there's no tag that says made in China, made in Russia. We don't know. But this idea that we don't have a 360-degree complete understanding of what's within our airspace, now that is a problem. My name's Jeremy Corbell, and I'm an investigative journalist, and I tend to focus on this strange world of UFOs and the puzzle that makes up the whole experience of UFOs. There are things that just keep us up at night, things that we can't put down, like studying UFOs. And on this show, we're going to cover all the things that do that to us, that excite us. That was my thinking.
You and I have talked about it a lot of times over the last decade or so, the big questions. Who are they? Where are they from? Why are they here? What's their interest in us? Oh, and the more I learn, the fuzzier those answers get. Some of this activity, it doesn't fit into a category.
And the more that you look into this topic, the more unsure you are of the conclusions that you really started with. I mean, we all start with some idea of what we think it is.
Yeah.
And the UFO mystery, I can't be a passive consumer of this. I have to be an active participant. I've got a podcast called Weaponized Podcast, and George Knapp and I, he's my mentor in journalism, we usually drop these cases through that visual podcast called Weaponized. This is an interesting one. Here's the basics of it, man. One of the largest military bases on planet Earth. It's called 29 Palms out of California. It's a Marine base.
I live in Southern California, been past 29 Palms many of times. It is an extremely, extremely well-known base, and supposedly this is where the Marines caught all this stuff.
Spanning nearly 1,200 square miles, the Combat Center is the largest Marine Corps base in the world and is the only Marine Corps installation that has adequate land and airspace to conduct service-level training with fully integrated combined arms live fire.
I got a tip that there was an event and I should find people that maybe photographed it or filmed it. That's all the information that I got. Within 36 hours, I was able to find that there were 50 plus witnesses that claim to have seen a triangular shaped craft that was hovering over the base silently. It was not descending. It was just a craft. And when I saw the first images, it was kind of like black footage because you're filming at night on iPhones. And I was like, oh, those are probably flares. No problem. However, everybody was reporting to me that they saw the body of a craft. And so as the footage started coming in, and this is just about 2 years ago, that's when this all came to me. So within 36 hours, I got people recorded, documented, on the record, telling me, hey, we shoot up flares. This wasn't that. We saw a craft. It was silent. It was hovering.
Those are not aluminum rounds because aluminum rounds fall. And
Good point.
nobody shoots in a 5-gun section.
No, you can see like an outline of something.
It's moving.
And then luckily, they did shoot up illumination rounds. And so you can see this big difference between what an illumination round or like a flare looks like and whatever this V-shaped formation of lights looks like. So I thought, okay, let me look a little bit more into that. Well, some of the people had iPhones with low light capability. And so they're saying, look, you can kind of see the outline or the shape of the body of what we saw. So this is what we're looking at now. It's an interesting photo because with the low light function of the iPhone, you're able to make out what appears to be the actual shape of what was described verbally to me by some of these witnesses who went on record.
Hand to God, what do you guys think this is? Like, legitimately, what do you think it is? You think it's like a black, secret, I don't even know what you call it, department of the United States government or some sort of outside elitist government creating technology that we have a hold of, but yet we're reverse engineering it? Do you think it's man-made? Do you think it's ET? Let us know in the comment section below. This is insane.
By the way, and we played that audio on the Weaponized podcast.
So I'm a mortarman, and he's artillery.
What are the facts, man? Like what base, which Marine base, and what time was this?
2 nights ago, it was roughly like 8:25-ish at night. It was near 29 Palms, California.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the base at all, but Camp Wilson is attached to 29 Palms. So it's like a one-way road in and out of the camp.
One of my buddies was outside, and he was looking in the sky, and then it just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And we all came out and looked, and then slowly, like 50 plus people started coming out and looking. Those lights appeared out of nowhere.
Obviously, a lot of people saw this. What did people think?
They were just kind of like baffled. Nobody could recognize it. I mean, we're all in the military, so you'd think
This happened.
Oh, there must have been something there. I was like, dude, that thing just darted off. But I can't tell, obviously, because it's 29 Palms, folks. You're in the middle of the desert. There ain't no light out there.
In a number of places. I've got reports from other people. They're coming in. The video you sent me, was that yours?
Yes, that was mine. That was from my iPhone.
And the photo, was that a still photo or pulled from the video?
It was a still photo. If you look in the picture, you can see like a black triangular shape.
Why are these not flares?
Because they stayed there for a solid 10 minutes, just in the same spot.
And flares don't sit in one spot for 10 minutes?
No, they fall.
So you personally know that these were not flares. Do you believe this was a craft?
Yeah, I would have to believe so. With the picture I took with the black triangular shape underneath the lights, it's definitely not any type of like flare or illumination rounds or anything.
I didn't mean to butt in, but I work with artillery, and we shoot illumination rounds out of our arty guns into the air to illumine infantry guys. And this was nothing compared to what that is. Like, this was something none of us had ever seen before. It was a completely different color. The size of the illumination was different. And when we shoot illumination rounds, it's one, you shoot it in the air and let it drop, and then you shoot another one. This was like, obviously you've seen the picture. This was like 5.
I'm assuming, okay, so this actually makes sense, because I'm like, if you saw obviously at the beginning, I was like, that looks like flares to me. We're seeing on screen the triangle object down below those two, what I suspect to be the illumination flares. So then that makes sense. I'm like, wow, those look like, get it. You get it.
Right next to each other, and they're kind of reddish, and our loom rounds are like a yellow-white color.
So this was a craft. Was it hovering, stationary? Was there any sound?
Well, there was absolutely no sound.
No sound, but it was definitely stationary.
How big was it? Estimate to me, how big?
Compared to one of those stealth bombers, the size.
Well, hold on. Stealth bombers can't hover.
Exactly. That's why I can compare it to that, but that's how I know it wasn't that.
I would say the size of like 3-bedroom house. I don't know. Maybe bigger.
So people are arguing, this is, there was training going on. There's always training going on. This is a training base. Here's the point. We don't know. This is an active investigation. Were these just flares, or are these reports of seeing a triangle craft, like the body of it? Is that correct? Couldn't get more information. I kind of tapped out all the sources. I wasn't getting more information. And I'm like, okay, it's time to put this out, and let's see now the power of crowdsourcing. Let's see now. Were more people there? Is there longer footage? The footage I have ranges within 6 minutes from the first piece of footage to the last. When I look at the metadata, it's 6 minutes, but this thing was described as being up there between 10 and 25 minutes without dissent. So I can prove, to a high degree, I can prove 10 minutes, but we're trying to see if it's more. You said that there were like objects that came out and like circled it right after, and then it went dark? What do you mean?
So right before they went out, the loom rounds popped off over top of it. Those two orange lights, the actual loom rounds that went up over top of it, and then after that it disappeared, like just straight went black, and then helicopters started like hauling ass towards it, and they went like in the direction of it, and then they started circling the area.
These helicopters were circling for a good bit.
This was my question, because I would imagine on a military base you have to have authorized, basically access to shoot something off, if that makes sense. Like you're not just going to shoot off illumination rounds and not have somebody telling you clearance to do so. So this is insane. This is nuts.
Afterwards, and there was a convoy as well that went out. It was like a 60+ truck convoy that we saw go out as well.
We were taking pictures afterwards.
Where's the people in the
It was just straight
convoy?
black. It just disappeared.
Here's the deal, man. There's no official way that UFOs are investigated. People are not going through the formal process like they should. There should be tons of data on this. So the idea is just to try to find out as much as we can, try to get as much footage. So now people are coming out. They are coming with more footage, more information. I'm getting calls every second, which is exactly what we wanted, because this process is kind of broken. The US government saying transparency, no problem. We're gonna look into this. Oh my gosh. I mean, if I'm getting good intel, the US government's not getting the best intel. So I'm trying to accumulate as much as I can. Now, this case, if it is as described, that's very interesting. We're talking about an incursion of an unknown vehicle over a military base. If it turns out to be flares, then that's also really important. Let's get that information out. But it is representative of what people are really concerned about. We know we have very special weaponry, and we have US assets that can do some really cool things. We also know that other foreign nations have technologies that we should be concerned about when it comes to duration of flight, that kind of thing, and just reconnaissance, as we saw with all the balloon stuff that was going over the United States. But there is a third element here. There are machines of unknown origin, unknown operator, and unknown technology and capability that durationally have been over classified airspace, or I'd say restricted airspace, flying with impunity, and in a lot of cases that are documented, even messing with our nuclear or tampering with our nuclear assets, not just in our country, but also in Australia, in Russia. So this is an issue. Look, we know UFOs are real. The government has told us as much. Remember, the 2004 Tic Tac UFO event, or the series of events,
this is the one where it
where
darts
Commander
out of it.
David Fravor chased a UFO, saw it with his eyes with a bunch of other people. It's on radar, it's on all sorts of sensor systems. That was during a training or a workup exercise. So was the 2019 UFO swarms, which, by the way, they're not our assets. Whatever swarmed our 10 warships in 2019 off the west coast of California, I have talked to more individuals directly involved with fighting those ships than any intelligence agency we have in the United States or beyond. For sure that those were not U.S. assets. And if they were other foreign nations, or you'd call them adversarial nations assets, man, that's an even bigger problem. But the issue is, we've ruled that out too, from what I understand. But that was during a training or a workup exercise as well. So here we are. There's this huge military base. It's known for training people. That's what it's there for. There's always trainings going on. So the question is, are these objects that we don't know where they're from, are they observing this? What's going on?
Great questions by Jeremy Corbell. Oh, folks, we are not done yet. That is just one of the recent UFO sightings that's taken place. The other one here, a family's reporting that a UFO landed in their backyard. This hit news everywhere in the country, and it kind of came out after the whistleblower, which we're going to talk about today and actually look at the interview itself, came out and said that the United States has military craft in their hands. They have aliens themselves. This one's weird. It's interesting. Hit that like and subscribe button, folks, if you haven't already. Let's go.
I want to bring back Nick Pope, who spent his career investigating UFOs for the UK Ministry of Defence. He's been so helpful to us in getting our heads around these recent sightings and the report of the government cover-up. Nick, I wanted to call you right away based on this Vegas sighting report. Again, it happened in April, but it's just coming to light today. I wanted you to comment on the description that the family gave to 911. Giant.
So correction, then this happened before the whistleblower came out, which actually gives it more credibility, because a lot of the speculation was that this family fabricated this whole thing to kind of grab a hold of the news cycle with all this UFO stuff being released within like the last couple weeks here.
People 8 to 10 feet with giant shiny eyes and a big giant mouth, especially in light of what Frank Spotnitz said about how descriptions of alien encounters seem to mirror popular culture, over the decades.
Well, what Frank said was really interesting, because actually Chris Carter, who created the X-Files, sat in the back of UFO conferences for years. So I think there's a question about, does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? But you're right. I mean, when people see things and have experiences, they interpret them through the lens of their cultural background, their belief systems. So, one person's angel is another person's ghost, is another person's extraterrestrial. It just depends on who you are and what the lens is that you're looking at these things through.
Good point. This is the footage from Las Vegas.
So what about the notion that there was the police body cam that saw a streak of light going through the sky just minutes before the family called 911 saying this has just happened in our backyard, a crash, and multiple other witnesses in Vegas saying they saw that streak of light and heard a crash too? Does that lend credibility to what this family's reporting?
Yeah, it does. I don't think there's any doubt that they saw something. And the American Meteor Society said that there had been multiple reports. I think you mentioned this in the intro, from California, Utah, and Nevada. What that says to me is that whatever happened was going on high up in the atmosphere. Now, there's a really interesting thing. I think the whole world has been watching this David Grush story unfold over the last few days, and the whole world is looking forward, obviously, to the News Nation exclusive on Sunday about this. This has kind of put the idea of UFOs and aliens in people's minds. And with the X-Files in mind, I'm going to be a little bit more of a skeptical Scully than the believer Mulder here. What they saw, what's on the police body cam, is absolutely real. But I think it's a fireball meteor, and that might have kind of made people just think there's something there. And the aliens in the backyard story, that might be down to belief. And what people want to see, what people expect to see, given everything that's been going on in the news this week.
I think it's an interesting take. Again, there's a lot of TikTok videos on this body cam footage and all this stuff where, you know, it is possible. I mean, I will say I did see on the screen grab of the footage itself, it looked like a typical alien in the back, where like they had the big eyes and with somebody, you know, illuminated and up the exposure, and you could see it. I mean, you know, I don't know. I'll see if I could find the video clip or the image and upload it here real time into the thing. You can kind of look for it yourself. But we have Jeremy Corbell back here talking about the whistleblower saying that U.S. has shot down non-human craft. And now we're getting more into the territory in the realm of this whistleblower, this bombshell report where this guy that worked on UFOs, UAPs, kind of behind the scenes through the United States military, is coming out saying, look, we got this craft. And so now we're going to have a bunch of clips here that's talking about this guy, and we'll also have the interview itself, or at least a clip of it. Let's roll it.
Investigative journalist and co-host of the Weaponized podcast, Jeremy Corbell. Jeremy, the whistleblower, David Grush, is really making some extraordinary claims here. Why do you think people should take this seriously?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm glad that his account is now being heard. Mr. Grush came to George Knapp and me first about 14 months ago, and he appeared to be the subject of reprisal. So we vetted him and held his account in confidence. We can say for sure Dave is who he says he is. He was in the position that he says that he was in. He had access to what he says he had access to. And by all accounts, Dave appears to be credible. So it would be reckless for us to not take his claims seriously. And his claims should be investigated by AARO. AARO must verify or disprove, that is their job, what Mr. Grush is talking about. So I think everybody should look at this and understand it from the point of view that this is something we can now look at and have investigated. It is out, and he filed a classified complaint under oath. And the Intelligence Community Inspector General said that he found the complaint urgent and credible.
Jeremy, how problematic is it that everything that David Grush is saying here is not firsthand knowledge, that he himself didn't actually see these non-human craft?
I think it gives weight to a lot of the people that have come forward and talked about having direct firsthand experience. That should be investigated now, because people have come forward. And by the way, I mean, it's very courageous of Mr. Grush to come forward in this manner. But there's a lot of people, whistleblowers, who have come forward to me and George Knapp and others, and they've told their accounts. So now, if it's true, this is something that can be and must be looked at by the mechanisms of government, and also the Whistleblower Protection Act that has been put forward in the National Defense Authorization Act. I mean, this is what it's for.
The Inspector General, as you noted, is taking this complaint of reprisals for going public seriously. Members of Congress are now asking today, and even just as recently as 10 minutes ago, giving a statement asking for more information, pledging to hold hearings. The public statements thus far from the Pentagon, however, are carefully worded, that there is, quote, no verifiable information, no credible evidence of extraterrestrial life. They do not say it's not true.
Yeah, they actually, if you really look at their words, they say that they have not found that. And I think what is important about what Mr. Grush is saying is that they now know where to look. And so I think that's the issue here. Look, this feels like an episode of Don't Look Up, you know, that movie. We have been telling you, people and reporters, investigators have been saying that this is a real issue, that we need to look at this. And so finally, Congress and Senate and legislation has been put in place. Well, now it's time. Now we're seeing that this is an issue that must be investigated.
The former Navy pilot Ryan Graves said last night on this show that pilots are still, to this day, today, this week, being discouraged from coming forward with evidence of UFOs, or UAPs as they're now called. Why is that? We've got Congress holding hearings for the first time in 50 years. NASA just held a hearing. Why are witnesses still feeling stigmatized when they step forward?
Because it is a topic that it produces stigma. But I'm going to tell you something that goes a step further because it's true.
That's why in last week's episode for the White House press briefing, and I actually told her personally as well, I told Jackie Heinrich that I was really appreciative of the type of work that she does, but also the courage that she had to ask a question with this type of stigma on mainstream media in the White House to the White House press secretary asking her about UFOs. This whole whistleblower thing. That takes a lot of courage. I mean, she was laughing because it is kind of embarrassing because there's that stigma of it, but in front of all her colleagues, putting her kind of reputation on the line to ask a question like that takes a lot of courage. I would say cojones and balls, but she's a woman. But you know, nowadays we don't know. But she's a woman. But that's kind of, you know, what's being discussed here is the stigma. But also, if you notice the reporter, and we'll continue in a moment, I promise, but there's a lot of information here. It's kind of being thrown at you guys, and I don't know how much you know. She mentioned Ryan Graves. So Ryan Graves was a pilot. I don't know if he's in the Air Force or what branch, but he flew planes or fighter jets, whatever you want to call them. And he would encounter these objects, and he was one of those pilots that said, look, we're not just encountering these once or twice a year. We are encountering these objects that we don't know, that are jamming our systems, that we can't actually get a hold of or showing up on our radar. We're not just experiencing these like once every 5 years or once a year. Every single day, bare minimum, every single week off both the West Coast and the East Coast, our fighter pilots are engaging these craft. That like blew my mind. And he's not the only fighter pilot to come out and say this stuff. I mean, you have the whole case with the Nimitz, with Commander Fravor. All his pilots that were on that mission came out as well over the years. I mean, folks, this is happening all the time. The fact that it's not more mainstream of like something's flying around our coastal areas and above our installations and we don't know what the hell it is. It's a huge problem, especially as Joe Biden allowed freaking balloons to fly across our entire country and just gather as much surveillance as they possibly can.
What Ryan Graves said is accurate. It is also accurate that some pilots are being asked to scrub some data. And why that would be done, that is a big problem. Is it just stigma? Is it because people want to go on deployment and don't want to have to report this up the chain of command? As somebody that people come to, whistleblowers, witnesses, direct eyewitnesses, I can tell you that this stigma is corrosive to public trust and also just to looking at the facts.
Well, I hope for you.
Great report from Jeremy Corbell and great report from News Nation. And you can kind of see News Nation appear here time and time again because they seem like they're on kind of the forefront of all this taking place. And they're on the forefront with this whistleblower here saying that United States has retrieval programs in place to gather these craft. I don't know if this comes out tomorrow. I tried to find the full interview itself, so maybe it does come out tomorrow. Most of these clips I have not seen. Everything that I'm showing you right now, I've waited for the entire week to do this episode. So I haven't seen any of this. I've seen like little clips on like TikTok of something, but those are either like 30 seconds or less. Folks, hit that like and subscribe button. I hope you're having a lot of fun on Supernatural Saturdays. This is what we do. We sift, we go through as a community to see what's legit and what isn't. This is awesome. This is amazing. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Bombshell claims from a military whistleblower. UFO wreckage recovered by the U.S. kept classified by a secret government program for decades. Tonight, a world television exclusive you will only see on News Nation. Welcome to Elizabeth Vargas Reports, earning your trust every night. UFOs exist. The U.S. government found quite a number of them, and they are indeed of non-human origin. Those are the explosive allegations from a former intelligence officer tonight in a whistleblower complaint that the Inspector General is taking very seriously. 36-year-old Air Force veteran David Grush is exposing what he calls a top-secret military program that has reportedly found wreckage of fully intact UFOs. The government now calls them UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. For years, there have been whispers and rumors that the government had aircraft of non-human origin.
You notice how the language changed again? It was UFO, unidentified flying object. Then it was UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, and now they changed it again.
This report is the first evidence it might be true. The Inspector General has called Grush's complaint urgent and credible. Tonight, we have a World Television exclusive interview with the whistleblower in which he claims we not only have the aircraft, but the government has been keeping much of it secret from Congress and from the public. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton is here with the story, and this is a blockbuster.
It is a blockbuster. It's really hard to wrap your mind around this. I've been working on this for the past couple of weeks. I'm still having a hard time processing all of it. Over the last couple of years, it sort of became mainstream to discuss UFOs. The government has released videos. They've acknowledged that we don't know what some of this stuff is out there that we have on camera, but this really takes it all to another level. For the very first time, the world is about to hear from a former high-level U.S. intelligence officer who says the government has some of the unidentified craft in its possession. He is revealing these exclusive details about the secret government program.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
We have all seen these blurry videos of unidentified flying objects. Video evidence, if you will, that old tales of UFOs may not all be conspiracy theories. In recent years,
there's a guy that looks like him. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Oh, what's his name? He was in that zombie movie. I mean, he's been in a lot of movies. I think he was in The Underworld with Kate Beckinsale. What's that actor? He's a British actor too. I can't remember the guy's name. He's in Shaun of the Dead. He plays one of the guys in Shaun of the Dead. Oh, this is gonna bug me. All of you are probably yelling at me. It's this guy. It's his name. Let me know in the comment section below who the heck it is. I'm gonna have to look it up later.
From another species.
We do, yeah.
The revelations have sparked up debate in public view and a slew of articles this week, some calling for full disclosure by the government of any and all information on non-human aircraft. And the interest in UFOs may only intensify as Congress gears up for this hearing, when we could hear from David Grush, this time testifying. Investigative journalist Ross Coulthard, who interviewed Grush, joins us now. And Ross, I got to tell you, the public reaction to this interview has been really strong and deeply divided between those who've long believed the government has such craft and those who believe that those who do believe it are wearing tinfoil hats. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised in the least, Elizabeth. I think we're all entitled to be sceptical. I think what Mr. Grush wants, though, is for his allegations to be tested. I mean, one of the things I think that people need to remember is he has given evidence under oath to both of the intelligence committees in the Congress, the House Intelligence Committee and the Senate Intelligence Committee. And the
good news is Republicans have the House, folks. I'm not trying to get political, but Republicans are more likely to actually go after these types of claims compared to Democrats.
He's also given evidence under oath to the Inspector General of the intelligence community, and his allegations have been supported by the Inspector General as being both urgent and credible.
When you say his allegations were found, I mean, the IG is taking the complaint, it's urgent and credible. Is it urgent and credible that he suffered some sort of blowback for trying to make this public, or that his actual story itself about extraterrestrial craft is urgent and credible?
Good question.
Well, what we do know is that in support of Mr. Grush's allegations, a number of people did testify in...
That's a tough question. He's totally dodging it. Well, I don't fucking know, okay? I just did the interview. I don't bleeping know, Sherry or Elizabeth, whatever you are. I don't bleeping know what's happening, but there's freaking ET out there.
Camera to the Inspector General, and they supported Mr. Grush's allegations. We know that Mr. Grush has given allegedly the locations of where these craft are stored, the names of the people in charge of the program, and the gatekeepers allegedly controlling access to that program, both from within the Pentagon and from apparently a private aerospace company.
And
a lot of people think that's Lockheed Skunk Works, folks. A lot of people. That's coming from Dr. Greer as well. And don't judge, okay? Don't judge me with the English accent, okay? My family's literally from England. And when I say literally, like immigrated here, all right? It's not the best, but I'm English, folks. I'm American, all right? I'm American. I'm just saying, because I know some of you are judging me going, no, that wasn't that great. It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. I know it wasn't, okay?
Did very carefully vet David Grush before you sat down with him.
Absolutely. Mr. Grush is, I've spoken probably to a dozen people in the intelligence community who've confirmed that David Grush is a person of absolutely impeccable reputation. He left the military in April with high commendations from his commanders, and as was seen by people earlier this week in the debrief, in the article by Leslie Kane and Ralph Blumenthal, there are people who've spoken on the record in support of Mr. Grush's claims, including a bird colonel called Carl Nell, who's basically supported the fact that, quote, we are not alone.
10 seconds.
Extraordinary allegations that I know require... require extraordinary evidence, but the simple fact is they need proof.
I got to ask you, 10 seconds. Do you believe him?
I do. I think he's highly credible, and I think his allegations should be investigated.
All right. Ross
Wow.
Coulthart, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Good to have you on the show, and congratulations on the interview. And tune in this Sunday to hear new exclusive revelations about this alleged secret government program as part of an hour-long special, We Are Not Alone, the UFO Whistleblower Speaks. It debuts exclusively on News Nation at 9 p.m. Eastern. It'll be followed by a live hour of in-depth analysis anchored by News Nation's senior national correspondent, Brian.
Should we go live on that, folks? Should we? I don't know if we can. Should we try to go live during this whole exclusive? We'll have to think about it. I was not expecting him to just be like, yeah, I believe him. I thought he'd be like, I don't know. I mean, he's credible, but, I'm still up in the air on it. He was like, yeah, damn. Doesn't it mess with you? Like, you don't know what to believe. Like, it could be legit. It could be totally false. But then you got these people going like, yeah, hey, put my credibility on the line. This guy's it. He's telling the truth. That's why we have that in the comment section, folks. What do you think? Do you think this is all real? Do you think it's legit? Think we got Craft, like Bob Lazar? We did a whole 4-segment episode on Bob Lazar's story. Check that out for our playlist for Supernatural Saturdays. It's not just all ghosts, but we got a lot of UFO stuff. We did like 4 weeks of Bob Lazar's story. It's long, but you get the whole story there, so check that out. But damn, let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Supernatural Saturdays. It's a lot longer, but that's what it's all about, folks. Going through the information as a community and seeing what's real and what isn't. Buy yourself a mug if you haven't already. Look, they're like $15, $16. I forget how much they are, but I'm telling you, you guys see me use this every single day. One, you get the American flag on the back. I mean, the coffee tastes better out of it. It's normal American coffee, but this stuff does. I scrub this every day with us. What do they call it? Scrub daddies. You know what I mean? Those ones that are just rough and tough American muscle. It has not damaged it. I put it in the dishwasher. I wouldn't sell you something I thought was crap. You get yourself shirts, mugs, and grab yourself a copy of Trojan Horse: How the Left is Destroying America. I'm telling you, doing Supernatural Saturdays, you guys, I've really thought about doing a UFO book. I mean, I thought about doing a lot of books. We're going to do a book on Mao. I've done all the research for that. We're going to do a book on the education system. I'm currently in the process of doing research on that. I want to do a book on UFOs. I mean, if you're part of the Bald Brad Show community, trust me, folks, there's going to be books in the future. I just got to find the time to write all this stuff. I'm a one-man show. But, folks, thank you for hanging out with me on Supernatural Saturdays. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, Bald Brad, all the links to everything we do here is in the description below. If you want to support us, the join tab's there. We would love your support. $4.99 a month, $9.99 a month is the two there. We got a lot of people with badges in the comments in the live chat. But anywho, enough of me. I will see you tomorrow, possibly a live show. We'll see. I'm not making any promises, but you will see it if we do. With that being said, I'll see you tomorrow here on Bald Brad Show.